Hey, what up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a minute, but I will explain that at the end of this video. I wanted to come and talk to you guys about the Sweetie Pie situation, which is the restaurant. The owner is Miss Roby. She has a son named Tim, who had just been arrested for conspiring, putting the hit out on his nephew, Andre, which is Mrs. Roby's grandson. And a lot of people believe that it was for a $400,000 life insurance policy that he had put on the nephew, but that actually is not the case. That was just a benefit, a bonus of him being able to get that right now. But the reason why he had Andre killed was for the end game, the long haul, which is the fact that since Miss Roby had him and one other brother, well, one other son, which will be Tim's brother, his older brother, but he passed away years ago. So that makes Tim the sole joint heir, whatever you call it, heir to her dynasty, to any life insurance policy, all her properties, all her businesses. He reaps all the benefits. But since his brother had a son named Andre, that makes him now the beneficiary of everything that his father would have gotten if he was alive. And that is why Tim wanted to kill Andre, to make sure he don't have to split that with him. Andre is her grandson, but that falls right in line under son. Of course, he would be in a will inheritance, but due to the fact that his father passed away, he now becomes joint heir as if he was her son with Tim, and that's why Tim wanted him knocked off. It wasn't just for a $400,000 or $450,000 life insurance policy. That was just to get some money right now, since he was going to get him and move him out the way anyway, so he did not have to share anything with him. And a lot of people was wondering, like, we'll figure he had a problem with Charles and stuff. The reason why Charles' life was not under threat is because although Charles is a family, he's a nephew. He will receive some benefits. He might be in the will, but no, he would not be joint partner or owner of the business or any of that. Miss Roby was going to make Tim split that with Andre. So that's why I don't believe he had, or looked at Charles as that big of a threat, because he's going to get something anyway, but it just wouldn't be to the extent that he would get, that Andre would get. So anyway, the other thing is, I do believe he wanted them both out the way, because I went through last night, I was just watching a whole bunch of episodes, and he wanted them gone, pushed away, out of the way, Charles too, but that was more so they would not be privy to everything he was doing, how he was running the restaurant, what he was stealing and doing in running the restaurant, because since they were family and so close to Miss Roby, they are a set of eyes and ears for her. So I believe that's why he wanted Charles still pushed out of the way and not really up under his fold like that to see what was going on. The other reason is for power and control. Due to the fact that they were family and so close, one a grandchild, one a nephew, right, he could not fire him. They did have just as much power in him. Just as much power as he did, due to the fact that, right, he could not fire them. They could be privy and have access to things going on in the business that, of course, a co-worker falling under him would not, and would not question him on, would not be able to go and tattletale on him on necessarily. So I believe that's why he was still trying to push Charles and trying to do stuff, bully them, and be evil to make it an unbearable work environment to where they would want to leave the business and not want anything to do with it. But the difference with Andre is, even if Andre left the business and said, here, I'm not going to work in here, when Miss Roby passed away, he's still going to have joint ownership in it with him. He's still going to have half of that life insurance policy. He will get everything as if he was her son, his father. So that is why Tim killed him. Now, this is the other thing, because people were mentioning about the life insurance policy on his mother. I do believe that he had intentions of killing his mother. I also think that's the other reason why he took Andre out, because, of course, he would want to remove Andre out the way first, since he is a joint heir. I kill him off first, and now I don't have to worry about trying to get rid of him later. I don't have to worry about things already going to him, because guess what? Then certain stuff, Miss Roby might pass that down to his daughter. Not Miss Roby. If Miss Roby was killed first, then Andre would collect his portion of everything. And then if he killed Andre, then Andre's daughter would have collected it. The fact, because it will all automatically pass down. But due to the fact that he knocked Andre out first, well, now Miss Roby most likely is going to go and rewrite that will, not going to make the daughter, her his daughter, which would be her great granddaughter, joint heir of running the business and all that. She would have been given some money, but it wouldn't be to the extent of what Andre would have received with him being alive. And this is why I think he planned on killing his mama, because it wouldn't be uncommon for him to have a life insurance policy on his mother. That would be a given. That wouldn't be suspect. But this is why I believe he did intend on killing her, because I believe it was him who broke into her house and all that. And this is why, the other reason why he needed to get Andre out the way. Andre, of course, before was living with her. He could not make any moves on Miss Roby while Andre was alive, because Andre was living with her. He catered to her. He deeply loved and looked out for his grandmother, right? So we hear that she had left out of town. The house had been broken into. Things were ransacked. They had time to be in her. It's someone who knew her, of course, and everything like that. And the reason why I think he made that move was to already set the stage to make it look like, oh, crime is happening in this area, and she's already been targeted. She just looked up that time. So then when he came back later, it wouldn't raise as many eyebrows for her to be dead. What I don't respect is like, dude, not only were you going to kill your mother, but you were going to brutally kill your mother, because you chose to do a home invasion. That's what his second plot was going to be, do a home invasion with her in the home the next time, and actually take her life, which would have been brutal. Like most of them people who choose to kill their parents for life insurance policy and all that, at least they, I mean, they're evil, but at least they're smart enough to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to make this look like natural causes. I'm going to do something that would, I guess that's still brutal, but provoke a heart attack. You know, you poison you real quick and you pass. Like, they normally do it that way, and which he would have got away with if he had went that way, because they will have to do it under natural causes due to her age. And it's very easy with certain type of poisons and stuff like that to make things look like a natural causes. Or he even could have had her, I guess, fall down some steps and stuff like that. But anyway, he chose to go the breaking and entering route. As we see, his mind goes to crime because he's a criminal. That's why all of these things were done with violence, like random, suspicious acts of violence, with killing the nephew, not a car accident, with going to do a breaking and entering on his mom to have her killed, not a fall down a stair or something. But yeah, so his mind, of course, went to those type of violent things. And it's unfortunate, but that is actually, as I was watching the show and looking at things, that's how I summed it up. Of course, he's cold-hearted, narcissistic, and and he's a sociopath. And most sociopaths have signs of narcissism as well, traits, rather, of narcissism. And he was both. He pretty much really only cared for himself and what would benefit him. He wanted, once his mom messed up by giving him power in that company, she should have made sure that was something that she did once she literally was going to let it go, or once she had passed away, because he began, as we seen, trying to literally push her out, like, take control, take over, I want this all for me. And he was very entitled. He was very jealous of the fact, and then like the fact that others benefited from her and from the business. It was just all about him. And I believe that he also was guilt tripping her. I think he possibly ran the play like most children do on their parents, of course, trying to guilt them, not to this extreme, but I think he ran the play on her like, well, my father had passed away before I was even born. I never knew my father. That's what led me down to the road of crime. We didn't have much. That's what led me to stealing. And then I ended up in prison. So I think he probably ran something along those lines on her quite often, which made her feel like, I need to make up for the fact that your father had passed away. I need to make up for the fact that, right, you grew up poor, which led you to a life of crime and took your future away, put you in prison. So I think that that's why she catered to him so much, and why she continued to allow him to take advantage of her. Because I seen one of the episodes where she was like, this is enough, he's losing, she was like, he out of fucking control, he got too much power and all that type of stuff. So I think that she's seen traits like, okay, he's becoming power hungry, he's becoming money hungry. But of course, every mother, they're going to want to not think the worst of the child, or they're going to deal with them lenient, even if they aren't being blind to what they see is taking hold of their child. They're still going to be lenient on them. And of course, mothers think that they can fix it all and make them better if they just give them a bit more love, if they just, so I think that probably is what made her not deal with certain things maybe the way that she should have, which was remove him from all positions of power. Even if you was going to still come and check, remove him from all positions. The money you seen he was stealing money, the minute that you seen he was going over your head, calling himself going to do whatever he wanted to do and take control of your business, being entitled, she should have literally like just cut the line completely to put that in check. But due to the fact that she allowed him to feed this crave that he had for money and power, and allow him to think that, yeah, although she's complaining about it, she's letting me do it, that had an adverse effect of encouraging his behavior to fuel it even more. It allowed him to be able to indulge even more due to the fact that she wanted to cater to him, felt guilty about certain things, and of course loved him. Me being a mother myself who's lost a child before, I know for a fact that in itself caused her to spoil him even more, because she had one child taken away. I have a second child, and that's one of the things that I have been looking at with him. Because everybody got on me about that, like, you're creating a monster, you overprotective, you coddle him, and you give him any and everything you want, and you don't really discipline him. Because my whole thing was just like, no, this is my baby, he's so precious to me, I don't want to lose him, I didn't want him to be angry. So like, it creates in you even more weakness towards your children, pretty much. But I've been working on that, and I'm gonna let y'all, right, I'm gonna do a video about other things that I've been trying to do to get him from out of becoming that type of monster to where he's entitled and overly spoiled and lacks compassion for others in a given nature. So I do have things that I have implemented to make sure that he does not turn into that. But it can easily happen with mothers specifically, especially if it's a single household, because right, you're not going to normally discipline as much. You're going to overspoil you, because you're going to blame yourself for the fact that the father isn't in the home. Even though she didn't kill him, she's still going to blame herself for that. Oh, that's the other reason I feel so bad for her concerning this grandbaby, because see, she looked at him, it's like, this is my deceased son's legacy, this is him reincarnated. So she wanted the best for him, she wanted to protect him. And the fact that her other son ended up taking his life, especially when she brought him there to try and give him a better life and make sure that his life wasn't ruined through violence or becoming a criminal and stuff like that, I know that she probably even more blames herself, like, wow, his mother entrusted me with him and I still wasn't able to protect him. I wasn't able to protect my son, I wasn't able to protect my son's father, and now I wasn't even able to protect my deceased son's son. So I want y'all to pray for this woman. Like, she's going through a lot, and of course she loves this son. This is her last living son, and what has happened, she's blaming herself for all of this. And I feel so, like, my heart goes out to her with what she's dealing with. Like, that's a lot. That is a lot. She has had a lot of tragedies happen in her life with losing those close to her. And women, pray over your sons, because some things can also be generational curses over the males in this particular bloodline. So make sure that you pray. Like, that's one thing I do with my son. I pray that curses and genealogy, what do you call it, generational curses from off his bloodlines on both sides be broken, because generational curses are real, and they be on the mother's side, they be on the father's side, they be on the grandparents, both. Like, so you have to take that stuff seriously, and try and pray to do what you can to combat it that way. But no, it's not your fault. You don't get to choose the bloodline that you're born into, but everyone still is going to take on blame. They're going to feel, oh, if I could have just did this differently, maybe that would have changed the outcome, and so on. So I do think that she probably seen traits. I just don't think that she felt it would ever be this bad, that he would ever go that far. You know what I'm saying? No one would think that, especially not when it's something that you birthed and raised, and you know that you didn't raise them to be that type of being, you know. So I feel bad for his tragic, but I want you guys to share with me what you think. I personally do not think he killed him for the life insurance policy. I think that that was just a benefit. Like, hey, well, while I'm at it, I might as well get this life insurance policy. That's something I can get now. I think, though, he killed him for the long game. The fact that he was a joint heir with him to all of Mrs. Roby's assets and collections and businesses and stuff. So I think that it had more so to do with that versus just like a life insurance policy or just a little bit of jealousy in that. It had to do with greed, with selfishness, with entitlement, with his own brokenness, abandonment issues, and him looking at it like he knows how his mom is. He knows how she caters to her loved ones, especially sons and male figures. Because I heard him state that, like, the women in the family, they always cater, spoil the boys, do this and other. So I think that he just looked at it like, I'm going to have to share and give up too much with you being here, since you are a direct descendant of her firstborn son. So I need you out of the way, because I don't want to have to share everything with you, because that's what he would have had to do. But give me you guys' thoughts. And keep her in your prayers.